Shalom. First off, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rachakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and those great millstone real well, as well as double honor to their elders. Peace and blessings to 144,000 pushing this forward with all truth and sincerity, as well as peace and blessings to all the believers of Yahweh Shai. I just want to do a quick lesson. Got the inspiration watching the elder Pastor Har, responding to this lesson that the brother from Friends of the Prophets did. It says, "Woman dream Earth-sized UFO after global microchipping." And the Pastor Har's lesson title name is "Jake Woman has a dream of people getting microchipped and the elect being beamed up into the ship, being beamed up in the ships." So Lord willing, this lets me edifying to the point. I'm just gonna play a portion of the video where it mentions, the chip, and then I got another video here from I believe it's the same brother, GMS Hopeful Elect 3. He got another page. He has the Spirit of Prophecy, Vision, and Dreams. Go subscribe and be edified to that. This is a video he did 3 months ago. It says, "A woman shares dream about the MOTB." So Lord willing, this lesson is edifying to the point. Let's get right into it. Read Joel, the 2nd chapter, verse 28, probably just to the end. It says, "The promise of the Spirit." In Joel 2:28 it says, "And it shall come to pass afterward that I'll pour out my Spirit upon all flesh." And this is, you don't got to be an Israelite to be a part of this prophecy. As you can see here, this is a so-called, be a so-called white woman. She could be an Israelite. We don't know. But as the prophecy says, Yahweh Shem Shai gonna pour upon his Spirit out upon all flesh. So many people around the world are having visions and dreams of the ends about the things that are written within the scriptures, man. And that's the point I want to make on this lesson. The Heavenly Father is not giving a false dream and false visions. He's giving men and women dreams of the things that are written within. Revelation 13 and 16, the true breakdown of it. What's the mark of the beast? The mark of the beast is the RFID microchip. You see, the Heavenly Father making it more and more plainer day by day. These other camps that's paid out and sold out, they have to be, because and you got to be, you have to be paid out to teach something else, to teach that it's sin. No, it's a physical thing, So let's see, Joel 2:28 from the top again. "And it shall come to pass afterward that I'll pour out my Spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy." Just meaning, that they're gonna have visions and dreams. Not literally going out there on the highways and hedges and doing videos. Prophesying. The prophecies. That we waiting on. Like we do. Out there on the highways and hedges, but just simply mean that they're gonna have these visions and dreams. It says, "And your sons and daughters shall prophesy, your old men shall dream dreams, your young men shall see visions. And also upon the servants and upon the handmaids in those days will I pour out my Spirit." So we're seeing this overwhelming right now. Definitely go check out this brother page right here. Let me just, before I play the video, we'll go back to this. Let me see where I'm at. 5 minutes, 32 seconds. He does good videos, just showing people's visions and dreams, You can go check them out. Let's go back to this. Let's play a 5 minutes, 32 seconds. Well, let's play the Jake woman first from Elder Pastor Har.
As they begin, these people did not, when the ship came, these people did not even have a chance to break free, they didn't even have an option anymore, because by the time the ship came, these people had like a chip, somewhat, it was something like the New World Order.
That's it, and let's get that right now. Revelation 14:9 and 10. There is no gray area. You take that chip. There's no chance for you to be saved. This is your judgment for taking the chip. Worshiping the beast. It says doom for worshipers of the beast. Revelation 14:9. "And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worships the beast," and what's the beast? NATO and the EU. That makes up the beast. With America's a part of NATO. America's that great whore that's riding the beast, telling them which way to go. Says, "If any man worships the beast and his image," and the image going back to the Western Roman Empire, their system of government, their ways of life. America's nothing but a photocopy. This is just Rome 2.0 all over again. It says, "If any man worships the beast and his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand," so no matter which hand you get it in, left or your right hand, this is gonna be the judgment you're gonna receive in verse 10. But let's pull out this word mark here in the linear. It's charagma. G5480, charagma, under outline of biblical usage. All these definitions letting you know that it's a physical thing, aside from the last one right here. That's going off. But it says a stamp, an imprinted mark, It says, of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge of the followers of the Antichrist. And that's going off too, because there's many Antichrists. There's not just one Antichrist. If you coming up against Yahweh Shai in this truth, you are Antichrist. So that's going off right there. It says the mark branded upon horses. And letting you know it's a physical thing. You branding a horse. I can't get over it. Fucking Watchmen for Israel. They read this and said, "Now is that literal?" It is literal, man. If you branding a horse with a hot brand or a cold brand, that's something physical. A thing, carved, sculpture, or graven work, all physical things. You see. So it's letting you know they want to physically change you. Your hand, your forehead. You got companies with brain computer interfaces as well. Uh, these different companies with that grain of rice, that chip they want to put in your hand. Walletmore, being the top over there in Sweden. But going from the root word from Karagma, G5482, Karax, on the outline of biblical usage, it says a pail or stake, a palisade. And this is going to the syringe, the delivery instrument that they're going to use to put that grain of rice within you. If you're looking at a wooden stake and you imagine in your mind, if you're building a wooden fence, you got that point at the end of the stake, that you're going to drive into the ground. That's representative of the syringe. Then you have from Karax G1125 Grapho, straight to the point under outline of biblical usage, definition 3, it says to fill with writing. This is the part of that chip that's going to hold your information, as it says in definition 4, all the directions. Everything you hold in your wallet, your driver's license, your IDs, you name it, biometrics, your financial information, your health information. All of that's going to be contained within your chip. It's going to be you ain't going to have to carry a wallet no more. You ain't going to have to hold a smartphone no more. You're going to be the smartphone. They want they want to turn people into fucking cyborgs, and some people they with that, to their own destruction. But let's all read verse 9 and verse 10, and then we'll go back and play another video, wind it down. Revelation 14 and 9, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, you take that chip, either in your forehead or in your hand, this is your judgment. Verse 10, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture, into the cup of his indignation. You're going to feel the righteous anger of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And how is that going to come? And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. That's going to come by way of Yahweh Shai, which is the Lamb, and the holy angels, the heavenly hosts, coming in chariots, which are where everybody knows as UFOs, shooting laser beams upon America, Hey, in the midst of World War III, you're going to completely destroy the nation's armies, nothing left but dust and the smell of smoke. And then you're going to come over here. It's only going to take Yahweh Shai an hour to be completely done with America, man. This is a huge landmass. Could you just imagine the destruction? Yahweh Shai is coming back, what? Hey, we don't want to be a part of that, as well as Yahweh Shai, those missiles going to be right behind them, as it says in Joel, the 2nd chapter in the NLT. Let's read that right quick. Because those missiles are part of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai's army. Joel 2 in verse 11, it says, going from the top of this verse, is speaking about the missiles, Joel 2 and 11 says, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is at the head of the column. You see, he's at the head of the column of these missiles, they're going to be behind him. It says, he leads them with a shout. This is his mighty army, and they follow his orders. The day of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is an awesome, terrible thing. Who can possibly survive? The elect. Lord willing, we be at that number. That's who's going to be able to survive. But he says these missiles going to follow the orders of Yahweh Shai, man. as it goes up in this verse, nothing's going to be able to stop those missiles. They don't hit their target. Every one of them. But I think I read all of this. This is the judgment for those who take that chip within you, which is the mark of the beast, man. Don't listen to these other camps out there that's meant to deceive, a necessary evil, as Apostle Gabar goes in time to time, these other camps, pushing false doctrine. A necessary evil for the 2/3 to go follow them, Lord willing, we be at a 1/3, the elect. Well, let's play the portion of this dream and vision this lady had here, speaking about the chip, and then we'll probably go back to Joel 2 and read verse 28 to the end.
I said, I said, what was going on in there? And he goes, well, don't you know? He's like, we had to take a chip. They had to put a chip in our hand in order for us to leave the building. He goes,
man, I just want to play that little portion. Definitely go check out the whole video for yourself. It's 6 minutes 50 seconds. But I just want to put show the portion where she actually said, she seen a chip. That was in her vision. They had to take a chip in her hand to leave this little the area she was in that she was explaining. But Joel 2 and 28 again from the top, it says, "And it shall come to pass afterward that I'll pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, your old men shall dream dreams, your young men shall see visions, and also upon the servants and upon the handmaids in those days will I pour out my spirit." It says, "The day of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai," Joel 2 and 30, "And I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke." These different signs in the heavens. It says, "The sun shall be turned into darkness," going into a solar eclipse, "and the moon into blood, a lunar eclipse." I'm pretty sure there's some scheduled this year. Esau, who is astrologers, looking up there, mapping it out. But I always like to bring up that lunar eclipse that we had last year on the Passover, man. That was very, very spiritual because during Yahweh crucifixion, it was a lunar eclipse. 3 hours of darkness, and that lunar eclipse last year lasted for 3 hours, like three and a half hours, I believe. But Joel 2 and 31, it says, "The sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and terrible day of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai come." So these prophecies are being fulfilled. Verse 32, it says, "And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai shall be delivered, for in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance." So this is who that whosoever is talking about. Good precept for John 3 and 16. It's not talking about whosoever upon all anybody upon the planet. A heathen worshiping idols. No, hell no, man. It's talking about in Israel, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans. Zion to Zion, meaning the monument, we're the memorial of Yahweh Bashem Shai. And that's gonna be more and more evident. Hey, once we get those new bodies, man, they're gonna know that the Heavenly Father is real when they see us up on the planet Earth. Tazah, Yah, Wah, Na, the one and Na is connected. H6726 Tazayawan. Under outline the book usage. Let's go to the root word of it, the same word, Tazayawan. H6725 Tazayawan. Under outline the book usage, it says signpost, a monument, market. And that's what we want, a monument, a memorial. The Israelites are the monument or the memorial of the Heavenly Father. So read this again from the top and end it off here. Joel 2 and 32, "And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of Yahweh by Shem Yahushai shall be delivered. For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance, as Yahweh by Shem Yahushai had said, and in the remnant whom Yahweh by Shem Yahushai shall call." So it's not all Israel that's going to be saved, but it's going to be a remnant. It's all about the elect. Lord willing, we be a part of that number because 2/3 of our people are destined to die here, as it says in Zechariah 13 and 8, And we'll read that. Zechariah 13 and 8. "And it shall come to pass that in all the land of America, this landmass over here, this is where the judgment is coming. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die." 2/3 of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are going to be cut off and die here, because you refuse to accept Yahweh Shai, you refuse to change, and ultimately the Heavenly Father, rejected you. It says, "But the third shall be left therein, and I will bring the third part through the fire," and that's both spiritual and a physical, man. The trials and tribulations we're going through right now is purifying us, as well as being literally brought through the fire, that thermonuclear destruction. As the elect is being beamed up, those missiles are going to rain down upon America, simultaneously. "And I'll bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried." When you try these precious metals in the fire, the more heat you put up on them, the more purified they become. Those are just symbolic of what the Heavenly Father is doing to His elect. Purifying us. Getting all the ways of the world that we had upon us. Being in Esau's world. For X amount of years before he woke up to this truth. And then it says, "They shall call on my name, and I will hear them." See, we had the name by way of prophecy, which we believe on the names through faith. Who the word only calls God, his name is Yahweh. Yah meaning he, Hawa meaning is or exist. He is, he exists. And who the word only calls Jesus Christ, his name is Yahweh Shai. Yah meaning he, Hawa Shai meaning saves or delivers. He's coming back to save his people from their sins. Once again, latter end, Zechariah 13 and 9, latter end, it says, "They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, is my power." So with that, Lord willing, this was edifying and to the point, giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders, great millstone rule well. Peace and blessings to the 144,000 pushing this world without truth and sincerity. Shalom.